I planned the coup. I fought the war and I still want Biafra. Colonel Moboshi said. In few months from now, Colonel Emma Nwora Moboshi will be 82 years old. He participated in the January 15, 1966 coup d'etat. The first such in Nigeria. He led soldiers in different battles in defense of the young Republic of Biafra. In this interview with Mokogwo Solomon Nwoboshi, who also holds the prestigious title of Ogene Oboshi Kingdom in Idemili North local government area of Anambra State, speaks on the coup, the war, and the state of the country Nigeria. I was in Enugu, the capital of the then eastern Nigeria, when the rumbles and disagreement between the then military governor of eastern Nigeria, Lieutenant Colonel Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu, and the then Nigerian military government started. Before then, there was a coup followed by a counter coup in Nigeria. I happened to be one of the executors of the coup. What was the reason for the 1966 coup? It happened because things were going haywire in Nigeria. So we, the young officers in the army, were not happy that things were not going well. The then civilian government in Nigeria, led by Alhaji Abubakar Tafawa Balewa as prime minister, was not in control of the affairs of the country because he had a bigger boss called Sir Ahmadu Bello, then premier of northern Nigeria. About 95% of problems of Nigeria at that time did not emanate from the premier minister, the executive head of government. It was rather from the regional premier, who had all the powers, and these powers were not constitutional. He arrogated them to himself just because he was the leader of the Northern People's Congress, NPC, to which Balewa belonged. We were the middle cadre in the military then, saw the unpleasant way things were going in the country and couldn't stomach them anymore. Among those of us who were not happy was Major Chukwuma Kaduna Nzeogu. He got that name Kaduna because he was born in Kaduna. Nzeogu took over from a British who was in charge of the country's intelligence unit in Lagos, the then capital of Nigeria. Nzeogu uncovered a number of things that were going wrong in Nigeria, and as a military man, he had to report to his boss, the Prime Minister. Unfortunately, the Prime Minister was not in charge. He was a yes sir man. Later, Nzeogu was transferred from military intelligence to Kaduna, where he became the commandant of the Nigerian Military College. I got to know Nzeogu during our days at St. John's College, Kaduna. He was my senior. Some of us, including Nzeogu, in our spare time talked about the unfolding events in Nigeria. Everybody started getting dissatisfied. That was when we started thinking of changing the government. Some of us in the north were talking about the coup. Others did the same in Ibadan, Lagos, and Enugu, where we had military outfits then. That was how the thought of the first military coup was conceived. Some Nigerians tagged it an Igbo coup. How true is that? Different ethnic groups joined in the first military coup. There were Igbo people, there were Hausas, Yoruba, Efik, among others. What was your initial reaction when the war broke out? I was trained for war, but the war I was anticipating was a war between Nigeria and any other sovereign nation, not a region which was part of Nigeria. I did not feel comfortable that the war broke out because it was a battle which had to do with human life. I also saw it as something that had to be done. How did you find yourself at the battlefield? I was called upon by our head of state, Lieutenant Colonel Odumegu Ojukwu, to command an artillery unit, though the most senior officer then that should have done that was Alexander Madubo. He was my boss at the Nigerian Army. However, in Biafra, he was assigned to a brigade, so I was given the mandate to set up the artillery unit. So I moved to Okigwe, where I assembled old artillery officers for training. We were issued combat weapons, which unfortunately were disappointing, not the kind of weapon expected for the war. Ojukwu encouraged us to move on with what we had. We later moved from Okigwe to Hilltop. There was a secondary school there already. Major Tim Ontuegu was situated there with his own men, so we shared that college premises and dormitory. Later on, I was directed to move my men to the Nsukka front beyond the university campus. As of then, the war had broken out fully. Could you recall the deadliest battle you fought? The deadliest battle I fought was in Obolo, Afo, in Enugu State. We had a lot of casualties. It was in that battle that I sustained a life-threatening injury. I never thought I would survive the wound. Shell bomb struck me, broke my ribs and my spinal cord. When it hit me, I had a blackout. I thought I was gone. Biafran soldiers carried me shoulder high to our brigade headquarters in Ukehe, Enugu State, and later to Enugu Township, where I received emergency treatment in our hospital. My partner, a younger soldier who used to sit around me and run around for me, was killed by the shell. It was when I became conscious in the hospital that I was told that the shell that hit me also shattered him. Beside the young officer killed by the shell, who were some other comrades you lost during the war? There were many, but I will mention only one or two. One was Major Tim Onwutuegu. But by the time Timothy died, the war had ended, and the story was that he was working to get out of Biafra into the Cameroon. So in Abakaliki, a Nigerian soldier recognized him and he was arrested and taken to Enugu. They were planning to take him to Lagos before he died. Nobody knew the circumstances that led to his death. He might have been killed by the Nigerian soldiers. He might as well have killed himself. Another prominent soldier was Chukuma Kaduna Nzeogo. Nzeogo was with me at the Nsukka front. Those days, he did a lot of successful exploits. He would go into Nsukka with a number of soldiers armed with guns and hand grenades. There was a popular hotel where Nigerian soldiers and their women enjoyed themselves in the night hours. Nzogo and his soldiers would sneak into that vicinity at night, attack them, and inflict heavy casualties on them. They were doing this successfully repeatedly. It happened that during one of such expeditions, Nzogo took with him one Thomas Digger, who was Ojukwu's half-brother, and a number of other soldiers. When they finished their regular attacks and were going back to the base, some Nigerian soldiers laid ambush and shot them. It was when they checked on the soldiers they shot that they discovered that Nzogo was among them. They mourned him, took his body to Kaduna, where they gave him state burial, because he was not only a prominent person in the Nigerian army, but a very likable soldier. The heroic burial they gave him might be a propaganda, because when we were busy denying that Nzogo was not killed, they were busy going him hero's burial in the middle of the war, maybe to let the world know about his demise. Thank you for listening to this news. Wow, it's an experience to say. No wonder some persons will say they don't pray that they experienced the war again. But meanwhile, Biafrans are not actually anticipating or requesting for another war. Biafrans are still saying it that the actualization will come to pass, but will still come to pass in peace and not in pieces. The agitation will still go on, but will not be with the war. Alright, so my viewers, what's your take on this? Please don't forget to leave them behind. Click on the subscription buttons as well as bell button to receive more updates. Thank you.